Philosophies revived.
Hey, everyone. Imagine a life where pain, death, and poverty hold no fear for you. Sounds like a dream, right? A life where your only concern is to live virtuously and fulfill your potential. This isn't just a fantasy or a concept from a modern self-help book. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary life and teachings of Marcus Aurelius, a man whose wisdom from centuries ago still offers us a compass to navigate today's challenges. Stick around, because we're about to explore how Marcus, a Roman emperor, managed to solve the universe's complexities with his profound philosophy. Now you might wonder, why Marcus Aurelius? What makes him so special? Well, Marcus wasn't just any ruler. He was a philosopher king, a rare combination of political power and intellectual depth. His reflections on life, captured in his personal journal, Meditations, provide a blueprint for living a resilient, meaningful life. These writings weren't meant for publication. They were his private thoughts, a window into his soul, and a testament to his dedication to Stoic principles. We're going to break down Marcus's philosophy into bite-sized, relatable segments. We'll uncover how he managed to stay grounded in the face of immense power, relentless adversity, and personal loss. We'll see how his Stoic mindset helped him navigate life's storms with grace and dignity. So, whether you're dealing with daily stress, seeking personal growth, or simply curious about ancient wisdom, this video is for you. By the end, you'll see why Marcus Aurelius is not just a historical figure, but a timeless guide to living well. Let's get started and dive into the life of a man who truly solved the universe with his wisdom and virtue. Historical context. To truly grasp the depth of Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, we need to set the scene. Imagine ruling the most powerful empire on earth from 161 AD to 180 AD. That's nearly 2 decades at the helm of Rome during one of its most challenging periods. Marcus was the last of the 5 good emperors, and his reign marked the end of the Pax Romana, a golden age of relative peace and stability that lasted for over 2 centuries. Marcus's rule wasn't a walk in the park. Picture yourself juggling multiple crises, the Marcomannic Wars, where fierce Germanic tribes constantly threatened the empire's borders, and the Antonine Plague, a devastating pandemic that wiped out a significant portion of the population. These were not just minor hiccups, but existential threats that tested the very fabric of the Roman Empire. Now, consider the political climate. Being the emperor meant navigating treacherous waters filled with political intrigue and betrayal. Imagine having trusted generals turning against you, as happened with Avidius Cassius, who declared himself emperor, leading a rebellion. The pressure was immense, the stakes incredibly high. Yet, through all this turmoil, Marcus chose a path of wisdom and virtue. Think about it. He had the power to indulge in every possible pleasure, to enforce his will without question. Yet, Marcus chose restraint, compassion, and justice. His dedication to Stoic philosophy wasn't just theoretical, but a practical guide that helped him manage the complexities of his reign. His personal journal, Meditations, written during these turbulent times, reflects his inner struggles and steadfast commitment to living virtuously. Marcus's philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just an emperor. He was a philosopher king, a rare blend of power and wisdom. His most famous work, Meditations, gives us an intimate glimpse into his mind. Imagine having a diary where you pour out your deepest thoughts, not for anyone else to read, but as a way to remind yourself of your principles and keep your soul grounded. That's what Meditations was for Marcus, a personal journal that has become a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. So, what did Marcus believe in? At the core of his philosophy was the idea of living according to nature. But what does that mean? It's not just about trees and animals. It's about understanding the natural order of the universe and our place within it. Think of it like this: just as a tree grows to its full potential without seeking praise, Humans too should strive to reach their potential, not for accolades, but because it's our nature. Marcus also emphasized the importance of internal control. External events, he believed, are beyond our control, but our reactions to them are entirely up to us. Imagine facing constant battles, a deadly plague, and political betrayal events that could easily lead to despair. Yet, Marcus taught that by focusing on our own thoughts and actions, we can maintain inner peace and integrity, control and reaction. One of the most powerful tenets of Stoicism, and something Marcus Aurelius exemplified, is the principle that while we cannot control external events, we can control our reactions to them. Imagine living in a world where wars, plagues, and political intrigues are daily occurrences. Sounds overwhelming, right? Yet, Marcus managed to maintain his composure and stay true to his principles, no matter what life threw at him. Think about it. Marcus faced relentless adversity. The Marcomannic Wars were brutal, with the constant threat of invasion and the immense pressure of leading troops into battle. Then there was the Antonine Plague, a pandemic that decimated the population and caused widespread panic. On top of that, he had to deal with betrayal from trusted generals and political unrest within his empire. It's like juggling flaming torches while walking a tightrope over a pit of alligators. Despite these challenges, Marcus believed that our reactions are within our control. This idea is both empowering and humbling. Empowering because it means we have the power to shape our own experiences. Humbling because it reminds us of our limitations. Marcus often reminded himself that encountering bad people and facing tough situations are part of life. You can't wish them away. Instead, you need to look inward and focus on what you can control, your thoughts and actions. Virtue over vice. Imagine having the power to indulge in any desire: money, sex, wine, anything you could possibly want. Marcus Aurelius had all of this within reach, yet he chose virtue over vice. It's like being in a candy store with no one watching, but deciding to eat a carrot instead. For nearly 20 years, he resisted daily temptations, not for acclaim, but purely for the sake of being good. Now, let's think about this in modern terms. Imagine you're given a blank check and told you can buy anything, do anything, and there's no one to stop you. Would you stay grounded? Would you resist the urge to indulge in every pleasure? Marcus did just that. He had the Roman Empire at his feet, yet he chose a life of moderation and virtue. He believed that true greatness came from within, not from external indulgences. Marcus didn't see material possessions as inherently bad, but he was cautious with his relationship to them. He could have had anything: lavish palaces, exquisite art, the finest wines, but he chose not to dream of physical things. They were meaningless to him. Reflect on and value what you have, he said, but don't become so attached that you'd be despondent if they disappeared. Your potential is higher than that. Death and duty. Marcus Aurelius spent considerable time contemplating death. Now that might sound morbid to some, but for Marcus, it was a way to understand life better. He saw death as a natural part of existence, something inevitable that shouldn't be feared. Picture a tree that grows, flourishes, and eventually withers away. It's all part of the natural cycle, and Marcus believed our lives followed the same pattern. Imagine waking up every day with the awareness that it could be your last. How would that change your perspective? For Marcus, this wasn't a source of anxiety, but a motivator to live fully and virtuously. He often reminded himself that life is fleeting, and it's our duty to make the most of the time we have. Death, in his view, was just another duty assigned by nature, a final act in the grand play of life. This perspective on death also influenced how Marcus approached his responsibilities as an emperor. He didn't see his position as a chance to amass power or wealth, but as a duty to serve the people of Rome. He believed that being a good leader meant fulfilling his role with integrity, wisdom, and compassion. Imagine having the power to do anything, yet choosing to use it for the greater good, even if it meant personal sacrifice. The power of thoughts. One of Marcus Aurelius's profound insights was, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This idea highlights the immense power our thoughts have over our lives. Imagine your mind as a painter and your thoughts as the brushstrokes that create the picture of your soul. Marcus believed that by nurturing positive and virtuous thoughts, we could shape our character and actions in profound ways. Consider the challenges Marcus faced: constant wars, a deadly plague, and political unrest. It's easy to see how such circumstances could lead anyone to despair and negativity. Yet Marcus maintained a resilient and virtuous mindset. He understood that his thoughts would shape his soul, and ultimately, his actions. This wasn't just philosophical musings, it was a practical approach to dealing with the harsh realities of his reign. During the Marcomannic Wars, for example, Marcus spent long periods away from Rome, leading his troops in grueling conditions. The constant threat of battle, the burden of leadership, and the distance from his family could have overwhelmed him with negative thoughts. But instead of succumbing to these pressures, he chose to focus on virtues like courage, patience, and wisdom. Imagine starting each day with a routine of self-reflection and journaling, reminding yourself of your highest values and principles. That's what Marcus did. His daily practice helped him cultivate a resilient spirit and a positive outlook, even in the face of adversity. By consistently choosing to focus on virtuous thoughts, he dyed his soul with resilience and integrity. Actions speak louder than words. One of my favorite quotes by Marcus Aurelius is, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This quote encapsulates Marcus's approach to life, one that prioritizes action over idle talk. During his reign, especially during crises like the Antonine Plague, Marcus demonstrated this principle through his decisive and compassionate actions. Imagine a deadly plague sweeping through your empire, causing widespread panic and suffering. Politicians and philosophers might engage in endless debates about the best course of action, but Marcus chose a different path. He believed that actions speak louder than words. Instead of getting caught up in theoretical discussions, he focused on leading by example. Despite the personal risk, Marcus continued to fulfill his duties. He organized and funded public health measures, including sanitation efforts and medical aid, to help curb the spread of the disease. He demonstrated compassion and empathy by providing support to those affected, allocating funds to help the families of the deceased, and ensuring that aid was distributed fairly and efficiently. Imagine being a leader who, in the face of a crisis, not only talks about what needs to be done, but actively works to make it happen. His response to the Antonine Plague earned him the respect and admiration of his contemporaries. People saw him as a beacon of stability and virtue. His actions spoke volumes about his character, demonstrating that true goodness is found in how one lives and acts, especially in times of crisis. Gratitude and perspective. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. These words, by Marcus Aurelius, encapsulate a practice that sustained him through the challenges of his reign. Imagine Marcus waking up early in his tent on a cold, foggy morning. Instead of jumping into the day's tasks, he took a few moments to reflect on the privilege of being alive. Picture this: the air is chilly, and the muffled sounds of soldiers stirring outside signal the start of a new day. Marcus sits up, closes his eyes, and takes a few deep breaths. He contemplates the privilege of being alive and feels a deep sense of gratitude for the new day and the chance to do his best. He thinks about his ability to reason and make decisions, feeling fortunate that he can use his mind to solve problems and guide his people. As he wraps his cloak tighter around himself, he takes pleasure in its warmth and listens to the distant bird song. These simple things bring him a sense of peace and happiness. His thoughts turn to his family back in Rome. Although he misses them dearly, he feels grateful for their love and support. This thought fills his heart with warmth, giving him the strength to face the challenges ahead. When Marcus steps out of his tent, he smiles and greets his soldiers, encouraging them to also reflect on the good things in their lives. His positive attitude is contagious, lifting their spirits despite the cold and the looming battles. Throughout the day, Marcus finds moments to appreciate the good around him. Whether discussing strategies with his generals or sharing a meal with his men, he takes a moment to be grateful. The betrayal of Avidius Cassius. One notable example of Marcus's Stoicism was during the betrayal by his general Avidius Cassius in 175 AD. Cassius declared himself emperor and led a rebellion against Marcus. Naturally, Marcus felt hurt and angry. Betrayal is a bitter pill to swallow, especially when it comes from someone you trusted. But instead of seeking revenge, Marcus chose a different path. Imagine being in Marcus's shoes. A trusted ally turns against you, leading a rebellion that threatens your rule and the stability of your empire. The initial reaction might be to crush the traitor, to make an example out of him. But Marcus, true to his Stoic principles, maintained his composure and integrity. He instructed his forces to advance towards the rebels with the intention of quelling the rebellion, but not with unnecessary cruelty. When Cassius was assassinated by his own soldiers before Marcus could reach him, the emperor's reaction was telling. Instead of celebrating the death of his rival, Marcus showed clemency and forgiveness to those who had supported Cassius. He even mourned the loss of his former friend. Imagine that mourning the death of someone who betrayed you. It reflects Marcus's belief that revenge was not the answer. Marcus's response to this betrayal illustrates his lesson that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By rising above the desire for vengeance and demonstrating mercy and understanding, Marcus preserved his integrity and demonstrated his strength of character. He set an example for his contemporaries and for future generations, showing that true power lies not in revenge, but in maintaining one's virtues, even in the face of betrayal. Stoic legacy. Marcus Aurelius, along with other Stoics, believed in the distinction between pleasure and happiness. Imagine the fleeting joy you get from buying a new gadget or getting a social media like. It's temporary, right? Stoics understood that while pleasure is transient and often dependent on external factors, true happiness is deeper and comes from within. It's a state of being that arises from living in alignment with our values and principles. Central to Stoic philosophy are the tenets of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues are the pillars upon which a fulfilling life is built. Stoics don't fear pain, death, or poverty. Their only fear is neglecting their moral duties. Marcus once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This quote captures the essence of Stoicism, responding to life's challenges with integrity and virtue. Marcus's teachings remind us that the pursuit of virtue is a lifelong journey. It's not about achieving perfection, but about striving to be better every day. Imagine viewing each day as an opportunity to practice wisdom, show courage, act justly, and exercise temperance. This approach helps us focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. In today's fast-paced, success-driven world, Marcus's wisdom is more relevant than ever. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of material wealth and external validation. But Marcus reminds us that true fulfillment comes from within, from living a life of virtue. He teaches us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. By focusing on our thoughts and actions, we can navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. If you found this exploration of Stoicism inspiring, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more philosophical insights, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you content that enriches your life. Thank you for watching.